I'm Julia, also known as No True Lady on the forums, and tonight I am joined by...
I'm Bina. I go by as Bina007. Oh, wait. Wrong. Sorry.
Why did you just do that?
That's why I was laughing.
You're V-From and everybody knows it. Welcome to Vassals of Kingsgrave. Tonight we are discussing Thor 2, Thor the Dark World. And this is Julia, better known as No True Lady on the forums. And tonight I am joined in alphabetical order by...
Hi, I'm Eddie, also known as Ted on the forums.
This is Shane, East Texas Direwolf on the forums.
Nadine, otherwise known as Irenes on the forums.
And I'm Vikram. I go by as 42 on the forums.
All right, guys, that wasn't an alphabetical order, but we're just going to go with it because we've done this take now 4 times.
So Peter's on. Can we add him?
Yes, let me go ahead and add Peter to the call, and then we will begin. Hello?
This is Shellfish.
Hey, Peter.
Hey.
Shellfish.
You made it.
Yeah, sort of expecting not to show up since it's kind of late here, and you had plenty of hosts already, but
No, it's
good to
fine.
be here.
Yeah, shout out to all you European guys. I mean, come on, man. It's really late.
We are hardcore.
We didn't get up for anything.
Yeah, well, kind of on a nocturnal sort of cycle anyway now, so it's not a big deal.
Well, you get no sympathy from me because I'm home all weekend alone with my son, and, well, my husband is off on a camping trip. So if I can handle it and be here, you guys can all do it too. Yeah. All right. So, Thor the Dark World. Everyone has seen it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So I wanted to start off by going around in alphabetical order by your birth name, and everyone giving your lemon cake rating. So whoever's the first person in alphabetical order, go ahead and start.
That would be me.
I'm guessing.
No.
Sorry.
That'd
Isn't
be me.
Yeah. Sorry,
Okay, I'll give it 4 out of 5 lemon cakes, or as I'd like to call them, magical hammers. But yeah, I really enjoyed the movie. I've seen it twice. Yeah, yeah, I saw the movie twice. I really enjoyed it. It was a little bit slow at the start, but it really got going, and the action scene at the end was pretty crazy, and lots of humour.
Okay, so I guess whoever that would be.
Yeah. Okay, sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah. No, it's because you know what? I got screwed up because the Cheddar thing. I keep thinking you Cheddar. Yeah. I would say 3.5 millions because just not enough Loki. Sorry. But otherwise, But I mean, those scenes with him playing off of Thor bumped it the half point. So yeah, 3.5.
All right, I guess I'm next. I was going in expecting a 3.5, and I came out, I think I'd give it a 4. I liked it quite a bit. I liked the humor and the action, and I don't know, just worked for me.
Yeah, same here. I really like the movie. It's this mix of fantasy with sci-fi element going on. So I would give it a 4.5 ethers. I would say ether lemon cakes. No, dark lemon cakes.
Dark lemon cakes.
It's from the dark void.
Yeah.
I think I'd give it a 3. It was sort of really fun, yeah, but nothing special really. It was, I guess you could say, dumb fun. It's had really good characters and their interactions with one another, but the whole main plot, and I wasn't that big fan of the action or the plot, and the costumes and all that were kind of stupid. All the porcelain mask that the Dark Elves wore, and the spandex outfits, and those dumb tuning fork helmets that the Asgardians wore. I was not a fan of those. And all that.
See, the thing about the Asgardian wear, I think it's very Jack Kirby inspired.
Oh,
the
yes,
60s comic book artist.
It is,
I
yeah.
haven't read the comics really, just know the actual mythology, so I guess I'm kind of...
Yeah. So I like the old...
Oh, right, you're from
so
Finland,
much.
right?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's not really Finnish mythology, it's but it's Nordic mythology, so I know a bit about it. Yeah.
Oh, I gotta do my rating. I give it 4 because I thought that the performances by the actors and the humor and the surprisingly emotional moments really made the movie. I do happen to agree that the plot was pretty thin. It was just yet again big bads coming to destroy the universe, and no one's really interested in their motives. Least of all them, they're just doing it because they're the dark elves. And I have to agree that not nearly enough Loki. Why couldn't it have just been a movie about Loki and him just doing his Loki things?
Well, I think that's coming.
Yeah, it has been, I think, unofficially announced at this point. So I guess if people first wanted to discuss their favorite parts of the movie, really what you liked about it.
I liked it when Idris Elba gives us "We are canceling the apocalypse" speech.
Wrong movie.
Favorite part for me had to be that interaction when Thor broke Loki out, and it was basically they had the actor who played Captain America impersonating himself as Loki or something like that.
Yeah, that was
and
good.
I just thought I pissed myself laughing. I thought that was brilliant.
With Chris Evans.
Saw it coming.
I hope that doesn't count as one of his contract movies.
Yeah, well, he's supposed to do 7 movies apparently. So I'm sure that just counts as a cameo, though, and I think we can expect that in all these various Avenger solo movies, that at least one other Avenger will just show up for 2 minutes to just make us all laugh like that. Anyone else want to mention their favorite moments?
I think I really enjoyed the bits where Thor sort of had to function in the real world and him hanging his hammer on the coat rack and all that stuff and getting in the car.
And it's the world's strongest coat hack.
Yeah, I was waiting for it to just crash to the floor.
Since the Hulk can't pick the hammer up.
Well, maybe that coat hanger was just worthy of the hammer of Thor.
Yeah, it's not heavy. You just have to be worthy to pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I assume it's heavy, but
it's Stalin Skarsgård's coat hanger. It's his apartment, right? So that's
he was
why it's
hilarious in this movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For
I'm
the
so
parts
glad
where
you
he
brought
had
that
pants on or without pants on.
Both.
I know my favourite bit of the movie is the Stan Lee cameo.
Oh yeah, in the mental asylum.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I have my shoe back.
Yeah, that was a really great running joke. I think one of my favorite consistent parts was the sheer amount of humor in it. I was surprised at how often I was laughing while watching it.
I think I think the humor is the reason why we can forgive the plot. At least I forgive the plot because the movie did not take itself too seriously. You had those light moments, and that made the big difference between this and Man of Steel. I mean, Man of Steel it had a similar plot in some ways. It was so brooding and so serious that it made all the difference.
That's because he was like Jesus or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jesus doesn't laugh. There's nothing funny about Jesus.
I think Jesus
We're gonna have none of that in this movie because he's Thor. He's not Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
So I know we've already mentioned that some people were not thrilled about the plot. There's lots of other good things to mention, though. I, for one, liked the costumes. It seems like with every iteration of the series, the costumes get better and better. They just keep upping the ante. I really liked Loki's costume this time around. And it seems like both he and Thor have kind of, I don't want to call them living costumes, but they seem to be able to morph them according to what they need. Did anyone else notice that? Like sometimes Thor had his
Yoga?
or his
armored sleeves.
Yeah, the armored sleeves. Sometimes he had them, sometimes he didn't. And I was trying to note whether there were moments that he was like willing them away or so. Did anyone else notice that their costumes seem to just sort of have a will of their own?
Julia, if I can pause for a minute, Mikhail is online.
Okay, let me go ahead and add her. Mikhail, are you there?
Yes, hi. This is
Hi.
That's so weird. I just got your contact stuff now.
Oh, well.
Yeah, you were online on the forum and everything. Yeah, like WhatsApp.
Yeah. No, it's so weird because I was like on Skype and I was, whatever. I just saw now, like 10 o'clock, the contact request, and I just got the little notification. I don't know what happened. I'm in my base. Maybe that's it.
All right. Well, we have just gone through very quickly the lemon cake rating, and then we're talking about our favorite parts. So did you want to go and give your lemon cake 1 through 5 for the movie?
My lemon cake will be, I think, a 2.
Ooh, hard.
Oh!
This is good. This is good. We got somebody that disagrees.
It's not that it was all bad. It was just the parts I didn't like were I really disliked, and I thought that they could have been remedied really easily. So that's why.
Well,
I'll talk about that.
Yeah, I want to hear about those. But can you tell us about the parts you did like?
Yeah. Anything with Loki, honestly. I must be the only one who thinks that, right? I'm the only one.
Oh yeah, you're the only one on Tumblr.
rare.
Nobody on Tumblr likes Loki.
Thank goodness I arrived. I really liked the scene with Frigga when she got to fight. Like I usually don't buy like secret warrior women because it's usually just like, oh, we're gonna give somebody personality by making them good with a sword. But I thought that really worked. I don't know if it was just the actress or the way they choreographed it, but I don't know. I really bought that. And it was too bad that she was subsequently stuffed in the refrigerator.
Yeah. You
I really liked
too.
I think Sif is in running to be the next Wonder Woman. I think.
That
I really
actress?
liked her.
Yeah, Jamie Alexander.
I really like Frigga's sort of like defiance in that her scene, but the choreography was kind of dumb, sort of the reverse grip on the sword and all that. But I guess that's
Well,
just.
I think actually I do kind of want to note what Mikhail just said with the fact that Frigga was fridged, and I was listening to a bit of a podcast where they were interviewing the producer for the movie, and he said, yeah, we had to do something to bring the brothers together, so we killed off Frigga, and it's like, that's fridging right there. That's the definition of it, of killing off a female character to help the male character's story and development along. For no other reason.
I thought Anthony Hawkins in this movie was horrible. They should have killed him instead.
Well, I mean, he might be dead, but we don't. Well, actually, I'm pretty sure he's still alive. But you know,
he was okay. He's just kind of phoning it in, I think.
Yeah.
Well, the beginning part, he was definitely phoning it in. I mean,
like when Rene Russo died. When Rene Russo died and he bent down to hold her, he was holding her in this very awkward angle, and I'm like, this is not Anthony Hawkins.
That was actually the only point that I bought that, because that didn't seem like staged to me. It wasn't like the classic way that you would hold somebody who just died in a movie. So that like stuck, because there's just ways people do it, and that was different. So that played very well. But I agree. I thought he was awful in this movie.
Well, probably we're not going to see much of him again going forward.
Yes. But actually, I'll tell you, Julia, why. I'm not sure. Like, it's okay to kill off a female character to advance male character stories sometimes.
Okay.
Like, it's okay to kill off somebody. And I think that Frigga was in a good position. But the problem is that we never saw, like, she was nothing in the first movie. And then, like, we had these, like, 2 scenes where it was like, oh, by the way, she and Loki are super close, guys. So, like, this will have impact. Like, if she'd had her own story before, it would have been so much, like, much less of a fridging, I think. But this was just kind of like, hey, get to know her, bye.
Yeah, it was. It did feel very sort of like, oh, wow, the first movie did really well. Are we going to do a second one now? Oh, so they're kind of, scrambling to cover their tracks to an extent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And of course, a lot of the fans have sort of filled in those gaps as we tend to do. But I mean, the fact is that we didn't get to see it on the screen, and that's one of the weaknesses of the movie.
Yeah, definitely.
Did anyone else want to mention things that they really liked in the movie? I mean, we could just start talking about Loki.
Yeah, just again, just the humor part of it, like in the end when the villain dies, when Doctor Who dies, how the spaceship falls on him. So, that's all this minor comic elements. Yeah.
Did anyone else think that Christopher Eccleston was a bit unnecessary in that role?
Oh my god, so much.
Well,
Yeah.
do you guys know the story behind the casting? Originally, Mads Mikkelsen was supposed to play the villain, but he was already committed to shooting Hannibal, the first season of that TV show. So Doctor Number 9 was the backup, basically.
But, I mean,
Oh, really?
would he have brought anything to the role, really? I mean,
Yeah,
that's kind of Mads Mikkelsen's his typecast as that sort of cold dude who just stares at people coldly, and that was pretty much Malekith's character, I
But
think.
he does it so well. I mean, I don't know if you've seen Hannibal, the TV show. I actually do a separate podcast devoted to it completely, and he's really amazing in that. But yes, often when he shows up in movies, he's just glowering there, sort of off to the side. So it's true.
I can't imagine.
You have to see him at his best. You have to see Valhalla Rising. That is just there's no dialogue, and you absolutely know exactly what he's thinking just by the
Talk
string.
about Grimm.
I think the Dark Elf makeup was on the heavy side. So even if we had a very good actor in there, they wouldn't have been able to do anything.
No, but that's what a good actor is meant to do. They're meant to act past the makeup.
Mm-hmm.
But there wasn't nothing for him to act. That character was just there and saying lines.
Yeah.
Especially since most of it as well was in a foreign language. Because I think, because it was Alan Taylor, I think he got a 3 for 2 with Dothraki, the Valerian, and this other one, a 3 for 2, just thrown in this foreign language.
The thing is, I really think that we saw more shots of Malekith's braid than we did of his face. And it didn't make a difference, because it was just whatever. It's not like he has any expression on his face anyway.
Yeah, really. And I remember when I watched it with my husband, he was like, "This is stupid. He looks like Daenerys."
Yeah, the character of Malekith was one of the things that I didn't like about the movie, because in the comic books...
Oh, I think my friend Tori's here. I'm sorry. Tori?
Hi, I am so very, very sorry.
It's okay. You're only... Yeah.
32 minutes late.
It's fine. Uh-oh, I just echoed.
And that makes this podcast officially have 8 hosts on it, breaking the record.
Hey.
Congrats, guys. Bring out the champagne.
Making history.
So, Tori, we were just ragging on how awful the Dark Elves were as villains, but before we go back to that, can you quickly give us your rating 1 through 5 of what you thought of the movie?
I'm going to go with a 4.
Okay, that's the prevailing view. Although somebody thought it was a 2.
A 2? Goodness.
I'll explain later.
Okay.
I have very long, intelligent thoughts about this.
Okay. Well, maybe we should. We've already gone. We've already said. Oh, awesome parts. Loki. We'll talk about Loki later. So why don't we just go on to people's criticisms? Because I know that Tori wants to talk about Loki. Yes. And we're gonna have a fangirl off to see who likes Loki better.
This could get ugly.
Yeah.
I have no negative criticism. I mean, for a popcorn movie, it was pretty good. So guys, go ahead.
I would say I was the character of Malekith, because in the comic books he was kind of a cross between Loki and the Joker. He had a lot of magic powers that were Loki-esque, they were trickery and teleporting and disguises, but he always had a grin on his face and he was real, elvish. So that was kind of the only really thing that I didn't like. The rest of the movie I really did like.
Oh wow, that's a completely different personality then.
Yeah, we already had that character in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they toned it down too much, I think, not to be competitive to Loki.
Yeah, we couldn't have another character like that. Oh, quickly, Tori, by the way, do you know how many notes my GIF is up to?
4,000.
7,744.
Fuck you.
All right. Okay. Let me try to think of a part that I didn't like. I really didn't like, as we already mentioned, the whole thing with Frigga. Just sort of suddenly she's really close to Loki, and then she's just killed off. That wasn't done very elegantly, so to speak. So that really bothered me. That we were just basically told, oh, by the way, she's really close to her other son, and then it's just like we're just shown enough of that to make us feel really bad for when she dies.
So Natalie Portman's intern Darcy, I kind of found her funny, but a lot of people thought she was an annoying character. Did anybody else find her annoying?
Oh, I loved her.
Yeah, right. She was fine.
She was funny.
It was a love-hate. She reminds me far too much of somebody I knew when I was still back in Canada. And yeah, it was funny to sometimes, listen to what she came up with, and other times to just be like, oh my God, how are you still breathing? You're too stupid to know how to.
Yeah, it seems she's on a sitcom, right? She's on Two Broke Girls or something. That's a popular sitcom here. And that's why, she got like a bump or something and more lines and stuff like that than the first movie.
Well, I didn't think they used her too much.
I thought she had really good comedic timing. I mean, she called Thor's hammer Mew Mew, for God's sake. That's great.
Mew.
Is that a callback to the first movie, I think? Or?
I don't remember.
I really like Darcy.
Yeah, she had a hard time pronouncing it too. I have a hard time pronouncing Mew Mew.
Mjolnir.
Mjolnir, okay. I just want to know, how many of you are actually, know the original source material? I mean, not biblical, not mythological, but the comic book thing.
I actually like the legends. I didn't read the comics. Mine is more sort of the interest in sort of the legends.
Yeah, same here. I think the comics are something that I've always sort of been aware of, just growing up as an American kid who liked to read comic books, but I was never into the Avengers before the movies came out, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm pretty familiar with the Thor comics.
Yeah, I didn't know anything. Like, I went into...
Carry on.
Okay.
We're going to be doing that a lot in this episode.
Yeah, so, so it's what, 2/8 knowledge?
I saw Thor, and I, basically knew nothing about the whole thing, and then I left and was like, who was that guy who played Loki? This is a really dumb movie, but who was that guy who played Loki? And that is basically the crux of my entire awareness and involvement. I mean, now I know a little bit more, but of the comics and comic book movies is I was interested in Loki, so I found out everything else that I needed to know. But I know nothing about Norse mythology or comics either one. Totally ignorant. It's all Hiddleston.
I think that's a lot of people.
Is it wrong that I have a slightly smug sort of yay? Because he's from London and apparently he just wanders around randomly, so it's like I'm going to be down in the city all the time now with my binoculars going Hiddleston sighting.
Are you kidding? Every time he's in New York, if he tweets something that he's in New York, or I know he's in New York for a premiere, I'm walking around like a psychopath with my eyes goggled, wait, tall person, is that him? Tall person, what color hair does he have now? Oh my God. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yep, he's the one man who makes ginger grrr.
And also, when he does get a serious girlfriend, he's going to have to put her into witness protection because she'll be a marked woman by all his fans. We'll just try to kill her.
Well, that's ridiculous.
No.
Well, I mean,
we don't want to kill her. We just want to hide her somewhere so that he can never find her again.
We just want to
We're
be
not evil.
Yeah.
We want to be her.
Oh, by the way, girls, do you know he's does any of you listen to the Nerdist podcast? Because there's an interview with him on that. Just thought you might like to know.
What about it?
Well, have you listened to it?
No.
I heard the episode.
What is there some kind of super special information we should be aware of?
Well, I thought you just liked him.
No, he did an interview on the Nerdist recently. I haven't listened to it yet because sometimes I get overwhelmed.
I've got it. I've downloaded it and I've listened to it several times. 1 point for Nadine.
So, you guys just want to go into the whole Loki sex symbol thing now?
Yeah, why the hell not? Well, actually, Tori just had to jump off and she's coming back on. She was having computer... Wait, there she is. Tori, are you there? Tori?
Hello.
Okay, well, we're about to go into the Loki sex symbol part of the conversation, so I'm just going to...
I'm glad I'm here for this. I'm Skyping via my phone. Windows 8 did its wonderful thing where it said, shutting down immediately, there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, Windows knows you guys are going to talk about Loki now.
I was kind of had a question
Preemptively
actually.
shutting down. I can't hear this. I can't hear this.
Was it like a planned thing when they cast him in Thor? Like, was he an established actor? Did he have much of a following back then, or did it just sort of grow organically from that?
This was his star turn for sure. The first Thor movie, and I honestly don't think they expected Tom to break out this way. I mean, he's just such.
I didn't expect to break out this way.
Yeah, he's just such a strong actor, and he just kills it, just like everything I've ever seen him in. And he just really, I think he put a lot of thought into the role, quite frankly, and it shows.
I saw a post.
Like, let's face it, I think a lot of girls, women, human people who like that would go for the Loki person instead of the Thor person. Because I'm always like, oh, big blonde guy with muscles, like, that's nice, but, like, whatever. But then you have, like, the smart, sly one with the British accent, and I'm like, oh, I like you. But, like, there was definitely something special about it that just stood out from the rest of the movie. You know, like, it wasn't the type of thing that you just could forget about so easily, you know?
I saw him in Warhorse, and that's when I knew that this guy was up to big things. Not really.
I was fixing to say that wasn't that great.
When I saw Warhorse, I was like, this horse is gonna go do big things.
As a male fan, I like how he gets into it for the fans too, like showing up at Comic-Con in full costume. He seems like to really, enjoy the part and get into it and appreciate, the fans. I kind of I like that about him.
Yeah, Tor, you were going to say something about something you'd read somewhere?
Yeah, I read an article that had been posted. Someone brought it back that had been posted right before Thor. They were talking about how Thor took a huge risk by casting two unknowns, those being Chris Hemsworth and Tom Loki. Or Tom Hiddleston. Oh, my God. Tom Loki. Tom Loki. Yes, in the lead roles, and they were saying how, who knew how that was going to pan out for Marvel, and of course it turned out spectacularly for them. So, but that was kind of a risk at the time for them.
Yeah.
So you guys seen him in all three movies, right? Thor 1, Avengers, and this.
Yeah.
Do you think he's done it consistently? Because it feels like he's done a lot better job in this movie versus the other two.
Well,
or am I wrong?
It's the arc of the character and the way that the series has developed. I mean, the first Thor movie doesn't seem to have the same, gravitas as this one. It felt more like a romp, if you will, whereas he's been through, this experience with the Tesseract taking him over, and I know lots of people speculate about, how much was he in control, how much was he being controlled, and he is actually a much darker character this time around.
It's also, he's been living inside, like he's one of those actors who kind of gets right into him, and it's a bit like, it reminds me of an interview with just forgotten the actor's name, the actor who played Viserys in Game of Thrones.
Harry Lloyd.
Thank you very much. And he says you have to play him like he's the hero in your head, because you're sort of, and that's sort of, I've read somewhere that Tom uses a very similar sort of method in his when he's acting, playing the part of Loki, is that in his head he's like, I'm the freaking hero. Why are you not worshiping me? And I think that's why he sort of he brings that to it. It's that idea that he's playing him from a very sympathetic point of view.
Yeah,
well, I think that was something that the movie did really poorly, frankly, which is that they completely skipped over the emotional reaction to Frigga's death. Completely skipped it over. They're like, here, have a really grand funeral scene instead and substitute feelings. No. We don't even, for God's sake, not from an in-story perspective, from an outside story perspective, you send a guard to tell Loki and you don't even let us hear the conversation. What kind of ridiculous stupid script writing decision is that? It's like, here, let's just write right past the feelings. Seriously.
Well,
do you
Frigga
think
lived
his
for
character-
5,000 years, so she lived long enough anyway, you know.
Do you think
It's
his
about her time
character
to
would
die.
have a big emotional
Well, there
reaction
was a
to it?
reaction.
That he
Did.
would let other
Yeah.
people see?
Yeah, they shot it and they didn't use it.
Yeah, it was one of the.
They use it in the trailer, though.
Yeah, where he
I don't know.
steps on the he steps on the Lego and yeah.
He's
I thought
so
it was pretty
sad.
effective how they just
spontaneously bled.
sort of showed the aftermath of it instead
Yeah.
of the actual sort of.
But we don't actually get to see him sort of. I mean, like in the aftermath, there's like stuff smeared on the walls, and we don't know what it is, and it's like, oh my god, what have you been doing? It's been 1 day.
And then, like, and also, on the other hand, with Jane, like, Jane has no emotional response to this. You know, it's her fault, and all she's like, oh, yeah, I guess this is what happens when they bury a god. This is interesting, And that's, like, that's it. No emotional reaction at all. It was ridiculous.
How is it her fault? She's been thrown into this as much as anyone.
It's not her fault, but it's her fault that they came because the Aether was there, because the Aether was in her.
Yeah, okay.
Well, she just kind of accidentally stumbled upon it. I mean, if it wasn't her, it would have been one of those kids who were messing around in there,
Which
and
is
God
another
knows they would be less prepared.
Yeah.
Mind you, I did read a really brilliant review of the movie where they basically said they just couldn't be bothered to flesh out Jane's character. She was one of the most useless people in the film. And
she wasn't actually.
Yeah, Portman was bad in this one, yeah.
I thought she was okay.
I liked some of
I think she was
her
that bad.
things, like when she first gets to Asgard and she's on the examination table and she's sort of geeking out on all the displays, even though she has like this ancient evil artifact inside her that's slowly killing her. She's like, what's that? Kind of fun.
Yeah,
Can I ask you guys a question about Jane?
Sure.
If you replace Jane in the first half of the movie until after they're on Dark Elf Planet and she gets the stuff removed from her with a statue or a puppy, how does the story change?
It doesn't.
It doesn't. And the emotional story doesn't change either.
hence why she spent a lot of time fainting.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, let me faint very dramatically to show you how this is affecting me, but I won't express it at all. I won't be, like, scared that I have this thing in me. And, like, the way she finds it, it's a freaking accident. It's so dumb.
Mm-hmm. It was
Well,
like,
she's
well,
a-
we have to
well,
make
she's
it
a-
happen.
She's a scientist.
she
I mean,
was the
imagine she would have
one-
a curiosity. She's the one that was
Right.
digging around there that
You don't
brought
stick
the
your
ether
head-
out.
And then in the climax, she was the one who set up all those anomaly things and did all those Home Alone style traps kind of thing.
No, in the second half of the movie, she actually does stuff. In the second half of the movie, she's a character. But in the first half of the movie, she's really not.
Yeah, definitely.
She's
They
just,
should have put a fruit punch thing in Stalin Skarsgård's character.
Yeah.
yeah, that would have been more fun.
Yeah.
I felt really bad for him.
Well, he's been through a lot. He's
He
been
probably couldn't handle that much. His mind would have just shattered.
Well, who was it? Was it one of you guys or someone else who mentioned that oh god, I can't remember the actress who plays Jane. We had just said her name.
Portman.
Natalie
Portman.
That she didn't want to come back, but she was like she had to because she just had to.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, I
actually,
remember the
opposite.
year when I saw Thor, she also did Black Swan, and she was on this big high kind of thing, She was the actress on the scene at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And in this movie, she's like a Class B actor.
Yeah, she's really phoning it in. I mean, I almost get the feeling that she wants to, I don't know, retire, but I mean, like, a lot has happened in her personal life since Black Swan. She married a guy she met on that set. She promptly got married and had a baby. I mean, that changes you, and you don't want to necessarily go back to the same life you had before.
Actually,
I was
it's
actually
the opposite
gonna-
of that she actually wanted to come back then, and they actually postponed the movie a little bit, so
Oh, they did?
because she was pregnant and she could come back, but I just read that on TV tropes it didn't have really a source or anything, but so
I was gonna
Always trust-
blame
yeah,
I was going to blame the director right at the moment. I was going to blame Alan Taylor. But Alan Taylor's done some very good stuff. Like, he's done a bunch of Game of Thrones. He's done Sopranos. So it's a good director then.
Well, that's another thing. Okay.
No, sometimes
should I
you get a bad director who doesn't give the actors good direction. So, I mean, these are very good actors, right? Portman and Anthony Hopkins. Why couldn't he get good stuff out of them? But he's an accomplished director.
Well, I don't think Anthony
As far
Hopkins probably.
as Anthony Hopkins goes,
Huh? What about him?
we both started talking about Anthony Hopkins
Yeah,
at the same time. I remember reading someone saying that pretty much everything that Odin says in this movie could be replaced with blah, 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 and it wouldn't really affect the plot in any way whatsoever.
Yeah, I would agree
And
with
it's true. You think back, if Odin just sternly looked at Thor and said blah, 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 we would all get the message.
Oh my god, it's so true. Because he also like they redid the exposition at the beginning of the movie. Like if you're going to start your movie with 5 minutes of exposition, you do not repeat it in the middle. I don't care how cool the Harry Potter books look. You don't do it again. We know, we got it. Yeah, my dad died in the thing. It was really sad. I get it, guys. Get it.
I don't really get what the Dark Elves wanted to destroy the universe, but weren't they part of the universe? Like, what was up with that? And Malekith was like totally pissed off that his people died back in the planet, and really confused.
Well, they like the lights
I got
down,
a point
I
about
guess.
design. If they come from a universe of eternal darkness, why is everything black?
Meaning that they wouldn't know the difference? Or
No, it's just they just couldn't find it, would they?
Well, if you want to be really...
I didn't really
if they came
understand-
from a dark universe, why did they have eyes? They should have echoes,
Yeah, exactly.
sonars, and things like that.
I didn't really understand what they meant by a world of darkness. Did they mean like spiritual darkness or actual physical like nothingness? Because that was one of my bones to pick with the movie. I felt like they focused so much on Loki as being the antagonistic force that like the elves were kind of just filler villains. Like
Yes.
also could have been replaced with like mutant sharks or something. Would not have altered the plot at all.
I actually think that
Hey,
would
you
have
take
been
that back. Doctor Who was awesome.
I felt like they really, really underused. How do you say his name? Christopher Eccleston.
yeah, because he's been so good in so many other things.
And Mr. Echo from Lost.
Very, very
And
underused. I
I've
don't think he was bad. He just
I think the part was bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's only so. I mean, well, the thing is that movies, they have lots of moving parts. Movies, yeah. And you know, we can say these are good actors. This is a good director. Why didn't it gel? There's so many factors. There's pressures coming from their corporate overlords that we have to make a movie that's going to appeal to this demographic. We have to make a Loki movie without actually making a Loki movie, more or less.
now
Did you
the
guys-
director. I cannot remember his name at the time, but it was said that he's directed Game of Thrones and The Sopranos. And after I learned that, it made a lot of sense to me because Thor felt to me like it was trying to pack the entire plot of a season of a television show into one movie. And I thought that the elves, like, if it had taken place over a longer period of time, like, they could have had more exposition with the elves, more stuff about, like, Loki and Frigga and mourning her death, but it just felt like someone was trying to make a TV show and then they had to pack it all in 2 hours.
Yeah, apparently there is a lot more that they shot and we just haven't gotten to see it. So if they do some kind of director's cut, that might help.
Did you guys think that the pacing in the first half of the movie was totally like weird and very slow? Like
Yes.
Yeah.
It was. And I was talking to somebody about it, and she said that she heard that. Again, online knowledge. Who knows where this is from? But that Marvel actually wanted it to be like that. Like they changed it or whatever, so that all the action would happen at the end. And it's like, that's great, but the first half of your movie, no offense, like a lot of exciting stuff happens, but it's a snooze.
Yeah,
Why
you're
did they
just
give a reason
waiting.
why they wanted to?
Yeah.
I thought it was the action was well spaced. I think. I mean, you started with the narration, so big battle scenes there. Then the elves trying to take over Asgard. That was pretty nice. And then the end. So yeah, no, I think it went fine. But yeah.
There were some weird choices, like the beginning. It did drag a little bit. Like, I don't know if they were just trying to show us how much time had passed since the first movie and give us a sense of how Thor and Jane have had to go about their separate lives. But here's the thing: is we really had no sense of how long Loki had been in prison. Like, was that scene with him and Odin and Frigga supposed to have taken place immediately at the end of the Avengers when he and Thor teleport back?
I think so.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
hold on.
It's only been about a year.
I've just had a question. I just had a thought here. Because obviously Thor went back during the Avengers, and obviously Jane knows about what happened in New York because she gives Loki a good wallop for it. So why doesn't she at any point bring that up to him, going, "Look, your dad couldn't send you to see me for like 2 seconds to say I'm not going to be able to come back here for a while"?
She did bring that up once, didn't she?
Well, she
Yeah, I
did bring
think
it
she
up.
did.
Yeah.
I
In as
really
many
like that scene
words.
when their reunion, when it sort of felt, comparatively to a lot of Hollywood movies, felt very organic, sort of their dialogues. So it was sort of they were both confused. It was like, well, you know that I know that you know, and I know.
I thought
they were like,
I thought they had more chemistry than they did in the first movie. I mean, it wasn't like
did.
the steaming romance, but it wasn't hardly anything there in the first movie, and I thought there was something there in this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, neither of them are really feeling it, but
Come on, it's hard to romance someone when you have fruit punch inside you.
what?
Yeah, it did.
Or, eat the fruit punch.
Fruit punch.
It does look like fruit punch.
It's dark fruit punch.
The thing is,
Evil fruit punch.
the thing about the elves is that I think they could, in another movie or whatever, they could have been really cool. Like, I like the idea of, like, magic using elves and whatever, and their planet's plunged into darkness forever, and I don't know, it's interesting, and they're also half
They had
Vulcan.
guns.
It's all really,
They didn't use magic.
Yeah, it was a little weird.
I did like their, black hole weapons. Those were cool. Like the grenades
grenades.
that created little mini black
yeah.
holes. That was neat. I liked that.
It's a little stupid when the elves had like guns and the Asgardian warriors had just shields and the stupid like
Shield
glass
swords,
swords or
like
whatever.
Well,
And
I think the Asgardians had laser spears, so that's equal. That's not overpowered.
no, I think that's only Odin. I mean, the other guys had just so short sword and shield.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can't really just say Thor's got just a hammer, do you? Can you?
I mean, those guys did just have swords.
Yeah, you would expect them to have energy weapons of some kind, and they didn't.
Yeah.
Some kind of projectile
they had
weapons.
anti-air guns anyway. I mean, and I'm bigger
Only
shields.
Odin had laser spear, right? Everybody else just had. Yeah, okay.
And I was kind of like amused by Heimdall, Idris Elba. He's like this like badass sentinel guy who's supposed to guard the Asgard, and when the spaceships show up, he just, what weapons does he have? He has like a sword and 2 daggers, and he just sort of runs at the ships and jumps on one of them. I mean, couldn't he have like actual weapons or something?
He had one job. One job.
He had one job.
See, I was also like, that was really funny, and I liked seeing him, take down the ship, but it was like, so you press a button and you're like, okay, turn up the shields, we're turning up the shields, don't worry, guys. Oh, it doesn't work, never mind, you guys forget it, you're screwed. Like, what?
That was about the slowest warming shield I've ever seen.
Yeah. Do you know, Vic? Do you know what he should have done when he saw the big ship? He should have just jumped into danger.
Yeah. Where was the Jaeger? This was a perfect movie for a Jaeger.
Why hasn't Asgard updated any of their weapons in the past 5,000 years? Like,
Because they've got Thor.
Well, they did have anti-air cannons
The past 5,000 years.
It's actually 10,000 years, I think.
Yeah, they did have the big guns that were shooting at the planes.
And I think they maybe had lasers on the stupid airboats that just float around.
Yeah, those were pretty stupid, the airboats.
Asgard is so shiny. It takes a lot of effort to clean it,
Yeah,
that's where all
everyone's
the
busy doing
time is.
that. And they got the technology right the first time, so they didn't have to redo it or something arrogant like that. I don't know.
Odin was really, that was just bizarre. It was like you guys just got smashed. basically. And the only reason that the bad guys didn't wipe you out is basically because they just decided not to. And then you're just like, let them come again. This is cool. We'll do it. And it's like, dude, that makes no sense. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but that was the actual only part of the Odin character in that movie that I thought was actually closest to comics. Because he actually, there is a comic, Fear Itself series, where he was very much like that. He was willing to put the earth, sacrifice the earth as long as he won.
Yeah, well, because the whole idea is that he's not Odin, the god that we know of in Norse mythology. That he's supposed to be this actual monarch with his own people to look after and his own agenda.
Well, he is very powerful. I mean, he's like most of the Asgardians don't really have magical powers, all of them. But some of them, like Thor and Odin, they do have a lot of magical power, and according in the comic books.
Loki was supposed to be one of the most gifted sorcerers. You know,
and also the companion characters. Chuck also had magical powers. Sif also had magical powers.
I didn't like Chuck that much.
Who?
I like the other guy. Fandrel, the dashing, the blonde guy.
Oh yeah, those the Warriors 3 were just annoying this time around. It was like, guys, you're blocking my view of Loki, please.
I'm sure it didn't help that they were threatening him all the time.
I'd like to see a Punisher and Volstagg movie.
See, Volstagg is so much cooler in the comic books. I know I'm harping on the comic books again, but he's like hugely obese in the comics, and they kind of try to insinuate that he's a little overweight in the movie, but he's still like he can still move, and he uses his bulk to his advantage, and he's real loud and boisterous. He's just a really good character, and I don't think they use him to the most of his potential in the movies.
Yeah, well, again, as was previously noted, it seems like they tried to cram in a whole season of a TV show into a 2-hour movie, and it just didn't work.
No.
I was actually...
Whose cell phone is going off?
I opened up a website that had an autoplay.
Oh, I hate that. It's like, what year is this website? You're not supposed to do that anymore.
So I'll take that opportunity to say, did we talk briefly about how Odin was saying that he was willing to sacrifice the Asgardians to win against the Dark Elves, correct?
Yeah, I know that's something we've talked about briefly.
Conversation between Julia and I about how that's sort of an interesting look at like how evil is Loki compared to Odin. We were talking about that specifically, like if Odin is willing to sacrifice his own people for his ego, like that just shows kind of there's an interesting, I think that just brings up an interesting moral point. I felt like there was kind of not so much that Loki's
no, he was willing to let his people die to protect the fruit punch thing. So he was being noble. He was sacrificing his people to prevent the Dark Elf from winning. So he's protecting all the 9 realms and stuff.
Yeah, with Vikram, I mean, he's just sort of set in his ways. Just wants to do things the old way. I mean, Loki in the Avengers and the first Thor movie, he just sort of wanted to blow up a planet because he felt bad because he was adopted, I guess. So. Yeah,
I think I phrased
I'm with
that
Odin on this.
I phrased it incorrectly with that. Mostly, it was just the part where Thor said, "What makes you different from Malekith?" And then Odin said, "Because I will win." And I thought that was just like an interesting commentary on like what makes the good guys the good guys.
Because they write their history, I guess.
Well, but I think that it kind of ties in with fake Odin's speech at the end, actually it was Thor who said, "I'd rather be a good man than a great king," and this idea that Odin and Loki are great kings but not good men.
Mm-hmm, well, that's what I was getting at. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
I think that's very sort of Martin-esque, since we were sort of from the podcast Vice and Fire community. Yeah. That sort of idea.
Well, I think it's impossible for us not to bring that lens into this, because that's we're part of that podcast.
That makes me think of Jimmy Carter.
Oh yeah,
he's supposed to be like a really good guy, and he did a lot of good things, but he wasn't a very good president for the
Yeah,
interesting.
And Thor's journey, realizing that he doesn't want to be king because it's going to get away. He can't do it. He doesn't have. He would rather. It was actually Tori who said he'd rather sacrifice himself and sacrifice other people for something.
Well, let's be fair. If Thor was sitting on the throne, it would be a boring Thor movie 3, Thor movie 4.
Yeah, nothing would
It would be
happen.
political maneuvering, political intrigue. It would be Game of Thrones Thor edition.
Well, I mean, I think that Loki will actually kick ass as Odin, ruling as Odin. I don't necessarily think he would have in Thor, and I don't think he would have right after the Avengers. But I think, and I don't necessarily know if it's sustainable, because, he had a line that was like, satisfaction is not in my nature. And I thought that was, quite insightful. Both of the writers and Loki to be like, look, I'm kind of a god, I've kind of created this way, not really gonna find happiness anywhere. And then I was like, oh, Loki, I'll make you happy. But that was a different conversation.
I noticed that line. Satisfaction is not in my nature. I thought that was interesting, too.
Loki has, cosmic self-defeating personality disorder.
Yeah,
but basically that's the plan. He's going to rule in Odin's name now.
It's a terrible plan, but he's going for it. Because what else?
He's not going to make it.
I think it's great. I think it's great. I think he has the determination now, and also he has to be reined in by the fact that people think he's Odin.
Yeah,
so
but then where does he have Odin? Odin is in a cabinet somewhere or in a closet somewhere, or kind of.
He disguised Odin as some prisoner somewhere, and people are treating him like crap, and he just has to sit in that cell and stew in the fact that Loki took him over.
Julie and I discussed that we think Loki is too vain to spend time as an old man for very long.
Yeah.
Right?
He misses his flowing black hair and because he can, as we saw from him doing illusions, make himself look pretty much any way he wants to.
But he definitely prefers his actual, human, because he also has the frost giant form. So, but he definitely prefers his Asgardian form. It's not human.
Now I'm like, thank God Frigga died. It would have been awkward then.
Wait, what?
Oh, God.
And that brings us to the Oedipal theory that Tori and I discussed.
We discussed this in depth.
This is a lot more like Game of Thrones now.
Yes.
Thor 3 ends with Loki stabbing his eyes out and his daughter going on a quest. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
But his daughter's a horse,
actually kind of through the actual mythology Loki did get around. I mean, Odin's horse is actually Loki's child.
Yes. Well, all the gods got around. I mean, in the actual mythology, Thor is not the son of Frigga. He's the son of a giantess. So
Loki liked to transform into animals, didn't he, and have kids?
Yeah.
The horse.
Yeah, the eight-legged horse.
The wolf, the snake.
The Midgard serpent, yeah.
Yeah, but in all seriousness, we were talking, because there's this deleted scene from Thor 1 where Frigga's the one who says to Loki, guess what, you have to be king now, and she's really into it. She's really excited about this idea. It's like, okay, yeah, your dad's comatose, your brother has been exiled, but it's okay, you're king now. And it felt very creepy. There felt like there was something, like maybe the actors had some discussion before shooting that scene that we're not privy to. And I mean, the thing is that she's known all along that Loki wasn't her biological child. He now knows it too, and it just seems like, yeah, okay. There's the link now in the chat. That there was just, yeah, we don't really see Frigga spend too much time with Thor. To come to think of it, do we in the first movie?
Yeah, that's very right. Yeah.
Yeah. So it just seems like there's a little bit of a creepy bond there, and I was thinking about it a little bit that that with Asgard having this really traditional monarchy, that traditionally the heirs to the throne, they weren't even raised by their parents. They were taken immediately after birth and just handed over to a team of nannies and tutors, and that maybe Loki was the kid that she got to raise. Well, Thor was, like she didn't really, he knew that was his mom, but that she never really was around.
Wasn't there a scene in the first movie?
Sorry.
Go ahead, Nadine.
It's just, you mentioned that, it brings up a sort of a conversation I had with my mom. I'm not going to go into like the whole, encyclopedia of the issues I've got with my mom, but it's a comment that she made, about how moms, when they sort of, not so much they play favorites, but they look at who needs mothering the more. And you look at sort of like those initial flashbacks from the first movie about Thor and Loki when they were younger, and Thor is this very confident, very outgoing, very personable little kid, while Loki is a bit sort of shy. He's because he's obviously dealing with a warrior culture. The Asgardians, view strength and prowess on the battlefield as being the very sort of the very big part of it, the culture. And Loki is, he does sorcery, he does trickery, and Thor kind of ribs him about it. There's a deleted scene where he kind of ribs him about the fact that, because Loki says, you only won that fight because I brought in the mist, and Thor's like, yeah, tricks don't win battles, and so there's already. So you almost, I'm wondering if part of the favoritism came from the fact that she saw Loki as needing a little bit of a propping up, where Thor is like, Thor, I'll take care of Thor.
Yeah, that could be.
I think that's very, very insightful. Yeah, that might be it.
Mm-hmm. I have my moments.
Yeah, especially since we see that Frigga actually has those sort of illusion powers as well. So I get the feeling that she taught Loki to use sorcery, while maybe Odin taught Thor to be a warrior.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, I know you guys can tell probably by now that Tori and I have already had a very, very drawn out, a detailed conversation about this. That I think Tori, didn't you call Loki the art school kid or something? He's the artsy one.
Yes, I did. Just that Loki's definitely. I was getting very emotional about it, as I am prone to doing. That Loki was obviously like the shy, sensitive mama's boy who went, running to mom when something went wrong, and his father never really approved of him. And, like if he was born on Earth, he obviously would have been full of teenage angst and gone on to disappoint his father by studying illustration.
Yeah.
See, everyone catching their breath.
It's funny because I love Loki, obviously, but I'm wary of making him too sympathetic in my own mind, because he is a villain, and well, first of all, the whole Asgardian concept of childhood just confuses me because they're like 1,000,000 years old, so I don't get it. But in I love little headcanons where he is like the super sensitive one and was beat up and whatever. But I think that you also at the same time have to acknowledge that there's something in him that is wrong or is dissatisfied, like he says, that isn't just gonna be like, that all doing all the right things can't necessarily make it okay.
Well, I know in the mythology that Loki knows from the beginning that he is not Odin's son. He is the son of one of Odin's slain enemies, and that the only reason Odin took him in is because to pay homage to the fact that this enemy of his was a great warrior, and he, instead of leaving his son to die because he was born as he was too small to be a frost giant, and not big enough to be sort of a bulky Asgardian, but sort of Odin took him in as as an homage to this this great enemy that he had who fought valiantly. So from the beginning, he knows that he's not Odin's son. Whereas, obviously in the movie they make it so that he doesn't know. But part of Loki's personality comes from the fact that he is jealous of Thor because Thor is the golden child, whereas Loki is sort of like, like you say, the art house kid who got beat up.
I got this, guys. Loki is Theon. That's it. And
No.
yeah, right? I mean, that fits perfectly. It's exactly like he's got abandonment issues like Theon. He looks up to Rob. He looks up to Thor.
Well, at least I wasn't the one who brought
He's
it up.
taken over Asgard. He's taken over Winterfell.
Well, Theon didn't try to blow up the Iron Islands after he found out. Well, he always knew he was Ironborn, but
God, I'm going to have
And
to
Loki
flatten
still
that
has his
screen.
balls also.
Yeah.
That's
So does
Thor
Theon.
3's plot. He's gonna get castrated in Thor 3.
Well, it seems like Loki is on a much more upward trajectory than Theon right now anyway. So we don't have to worry about this.
Doesn't he get his mouth sewn shut in the mythology?
No. Well, Loki does.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. The thing is that with a lot of these really ancient gods and goddesses, there's different iterations of them depending on the time period. So there really is no one Loki or one Thor. It's what was being made of that god or goddess at any given point in time. So there might be a story that says that, but I don't know if it's like what particular group it came from.
yeah,
What I'm trying to say here is they had their own AUs.
if that's they had that sort of like Hannibal mask on him was it in the beginning of this movie and the end of the Avengers? Yeah.
Oh yeah,
So
well,
that kind of support that.
I also thought that part of it was that if he needs to speak in order to do some of his spellcraft, or trickery, or just to piss people off. Yes, and we're aware that Tom Hiddleston does appear to have a large situation. That picture was just posted in the chat. Yes.
What?
Yeah.
A large situation.
Everyone okay?
Speaking of his magic, I totally fell for it. Yeah, he's magical. I think you guys are rubbing off on me a little bit here. But speaking of his illusions on Dark World, I totally fell for his thing where he cuts Thor's hand off.
Oh my
there,
God,
and-
that was good.
Oh, yeah.
Did you guys know that it was an illusion?
I was in the
No,
back
I did
of the
not-
theater yelling, "No, this is not actually happening!"
Oh yeah, it was rough.
See, at my point, I was already so annoyed with the movie that I was like, seriously, you just did such an incredibly dramatic thing that you cut off Thor's hand and you just basically like gloss over it. And then I was like, oh well, okay, it was an illusion. Never mind.
No, I was
further
before the
tie that
thing happened.
into Song of Ice and Fire and Norse mythology. That sort of made me think of Jamie, actually, when blonde guy gets his hand chopped off, and that made me think that maybe Jamie's hand getting cut off was inspired by Norse mythology, where Thor, the god of war, gets his hand bitten off by a wolf. That kind of fits the whole thing in Song of Ice and Fire.
Yes, that's
Maybe.
right.
Where is that theory? There's like a massive.
Hold on, let me. It's
This guy who's trying to connect Norse mythology with Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah, he
he's,
actually put together Game of Thrones and Norse mythology.
And it
He's
works
the
weirdly
god of single
well.
combat in Norse mythology, the guy who gets his hand bitten off, so that would fit
Tyr.
Jamie, I think.
But the thing
Yeah.
is, like, Jamie and Thor has like Thor is like taking a tiny little hop compared to Jamie. Jamie's like running a marathon. Here we go. Give me some instructions.
It's very it's extremely involved. It's not something you can really quickly just scan over. It's this guy has really done his homework and really tried to advance this theory about how the various characters in Song of Ice and Fire match up with gods in Norse mythology.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But basically the guy ends by saying it's not going to be dragons versus the others. It's going to be
Dragons plus others versus everybody else. So it's very controversial. Yeah, Ragnarok, right.
Okay, but we're talking about Thor right now. We can talk about Song of Ice and Fire any old time. back on topic. I mean, if we're going to speculate, I mean, but well, what do you guys think they're going to do from here? I mean, because it seems like there's a lot of plot holes that have to be filled in.
I don't think they're going to address a lot of this until the next Thor movie, which God knows when that's going to be from now. But I am really curious as to, like, how long they're going to say Loki lasts as Odin.
Yeah.
Guys, I gotta admit, at that last shot, I did not see it coming. I mean, I thought he might not be dead because I thought he was the scout that came back, but I didn't see it coming. And after that cutaway, I was like, after I stopped screaming in the theater, I was like, no, damn it, I don't want another Thor movie. I want a Loki movie already. Come on. Just give it. Give it.
Well, I feel like that the corner that Loki has painted himself into now is that he has to do a good job as the ruler of Asgard, or else his cover will be blown, and then no one's going to take the time to give him a trial or anything. They're just going to straight up kill him this time.
Did you guys wait after the credits to see the extra scene they played?
Yeah.
There were two, weren't there?
There were two.
Yeah.
There was two, one halfway in and one right at the end.
Shane, did you know a little bit about the comics? That collector guy, I guess.
Yeah.
Tell us about the collector.
Yeah, but Benicio del Toro played.
He's going to be in Guardians of the Galaxy, which I feel like is a franchise that I could be wrong here, but I feel like other than people who are very in tune with the Marvel Comics lore are not super excited about, so I think they're trying to build anticipation by tying it in with the Avengers universe.
Okay.
Oh, is that right? It's a collector from this other comic series?
He's he's been in a bunch of different comics. He's one of the cosmic villains, which the Guardians of the Galaxy movie is going to be one of the more cosmic spacefaring stories.
I'm just wondering if now they're going to be trying to tie in Guardians of the Galaxy with the Avengers, because that's going to get real complicated real fast.
Well, I think so, because it's all going to tie into Thanos.
Yeah.
I think Thanos is going to be...
Thanos or Thanatos? Oh, whatever.
Thanos in the comic books.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to be the background villain, the villain behind the villain in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then I think he's going to be the big bad in Avengers 3, is the way I think it's supposed to work out.
Okay, well, what's going to happen in Avengers 2?
Ultron.
Ultron, Age of Ultron, duh, yeah.
Mm.
But I know he's going to be in the third Avengers movie again.
Who?
But I don't know if that's true. I heard Loki's going to be in the third Avengers movie.
Yeah, well, he's just going to keep popping up because we need him.
But won't it get boring just having the same villain over and over again? I mean,
yeah, I think we need to give Loki a break.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's smart that they're keeping him out of Avengers 2. I as much as I really do want a Loki movie, like, I agree that they have to use him carefully because it's worse to have a character like this and ruin them than it is to, like, use them slightly to, like, underuse them. But I think they could tie something in Avengers 3. I mean, by Avengers 3, we might even have Thor 3, right?
Yeah.
So there could be a scenario where it would make sense. Yeah, he might not even be the villain. Like, he might be pulling some kind of reverse scheme and, like, help fight against Thanatos. Well, right, because Thanatos wasn't Thanos against him. He was involved in
he was the one who, it seems like after Loki fell off of the Bifrost bridge and did whatever magical journey he did through space and time, that he sort of ended up in Thanos' thrall. Like, he was like, I will give you the power to get revenge, but it obviously went terribly wrong. Was that ever really explained?
Not really. Not in the movies.
They just had the cutscene in Avengers that was like, well,
Loki was working with the Chitauri, and the Chitauri were working for Thanos. So whether Loki ever actually had any interaction with Thanos, we don't know.
That's right. God, you need a spreadsheet to keep track of this.
Who was the guy who
I have no
went to
clue
talk
about
to
any of this.
Like in the stinger for the Avengers, I guess that was Thanos, the guy.
Yes.
That wasn't Loki who went to talk to him. That was like some generic minion then, I guess. Or
Yes.
Yeah, that guy was the guy that Loki had been talking to, and in the Avengers he kept being like, "Oh, if you mess this up, the other guy is going to be really upset."
Mm-hmm.
So like, it would make sense that if the Avengers have to fight Thanos in Avengers 3, that Loki, by necessity, might have to help them, because otherwise Thanos is going to get to him too.
Thanos' big story in the comic books was he put together the Infinity Gems, which became the Infinity Gauntlet, which I guess they're calling in the movies the Infinity Stones, which is what they gave the Collector.
Tesseract seems to be one of them.
So is
Yeah,
the Ether is one of these Infinity Stones?
6 of them.
That's what I guess. That's what they said. That's what Sif and Volstagg dropped off with the Collector.
And in Thor 1, there's actually a shot of the Infinity Gauntlet in Odin's vault, so it exists in the MCU.
Okay.
Well, I thought it was they didn't show it in the actual movie, did they? I thought it was like a deleted scene or something.
I think
No, there
when
was
when they're going through the vault to
It's really quick.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, there's
Well,
Odin
might be-
offhand says protect the vault or something, protect the stones or something. Yeah.
it might just be like a Easter egg, and they retconned it when the became more like plot.
But
relevant.
when I hear like really classic comic book things like Infinity Gauntlet, like my eyes just kind of glaze over a little bit, you know. But I'm sure they'll make it work, because I think they've done a good job overall with all this material, with tying it all together and putting it into a digestible form, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because they're constantly referencing it, I think by the time when we see it, because it's so much hyped, I think we will be satisfied. It won't be like a ass pull or anything.
But at the same time, I mean, like, we've now had, half a dozen movies with these huge climactic battles, and I mean, like, I don't know how much bigger they can make it before.
Oh yeah, it's been exactly the same thing, right? This big, universe is going to destroy thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I thought they did really well in this movie, actually, that the battle at the end, because it was like, I mean, the Convergence thing was like silly, but fine, whatever, it's the plot. I don't care. But I thought that the way the battle was staged, like you're falling through all these different universes and you can never tell exactly what's going to happen, was a really smart, I thought it was, first of all, really well executed, and also a really smart choice, because it made it look very different than just the, battle smashes up a city. It's like, well, I've already seen them do that to where I live, so it's not going to get any more powerful than that,
Yeah, no, I thought that falling through the realms, that was cute, but in a good way. So I liked that a lot.
I kept waiting for Korra and Yulok to fall through and
I know.
flip out.
Oh my god.
Harmonic convergence.
When they were doing like the planet shot, I was like, which thing that I'm into is this?
They should have. I mean, if they had been able to do a nod to Game of Thrones, like we don't want to go to that realm, guys. Trust me, that would have been really fun.
That would have been hilarious.
Mm-hmm. Everyone there is fucking nuts. But I hear they have dragons. No, trust me, you don't want to deal with it. Oh, how about
my dragons?
Yeah. Or how about that? The very end credit scene after Thor comes back and Jane gets the D, so yay for her. But then we see the monster that they accidentally brought back playing in that industrial area there by the warehouse. I thought that was a cute touch. That was the sort of thing I've come to really expect from these movies, is these really just nice touches that just kind of make me smile, and yeah.
Yeah, I kind of laughed.
I think that's good that Marvel keeps including these things, because I was a really big fan of DC for a very long time, more so than Marvel, and I feel like DC's movies just have been collapsing under their own weight. Like Man of Steel, I didn't laugh once watching that movie. It was such a bore, and like the story, that's something that Marvel has done well compared to the other major franchise.
Yeah, I'm so glad they didn't go with the Christian Nolanization of stuff, making everything serious, emotional, and boring. Yeah, I'm so glad they found their own path.
Yeah,
and I think that's like what comic book movies are supposed to be, like fun.
Yeah,
and
it's supposed to be fun.
Bleak and serious and earnest, like Christopher Nolan Batman films. I mean, they're good films, but I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I think it
Quick
only
aside.
suits for Batman. It won't suit for anybody else, I think.
Quick aside, my 12-year-old nephew fell asleep during Man of Steel, which if you can't keep a 12-year-old boy entertained, that's pretty much a sign that you have failed as a comic book movie.
During a Superman movie, yeah.
I think that's something that that they've done. I mean, for personally, I like Thor best when he's walking around, when he's getting on the tube, and things like that. And that's something that Marvel is trying to do.
Oh, I love that scene when he and Jane pop back out in London and they get in the car and he's like, "Who's Richard?" And it's just like, oh, that's great.
Yeah, he hangs his hammer up on the thing. Yeah, but
you know that date scene with the guy playing Richard, Chris O'Dowd. He's in a sitcom called The IT Crowd.
Mm-hmm.
That's where he's from.
Yeah, he's got a catchphrase in that, and I was so sure they wrote that in, but he refused to say it.
What was the catchphrase?
Because her electronic device was going wrong, and I was certain he was going to say, "Have you tried turning
it off?"
Have you tried turning it off and on again? But he
I love that.
refused to say it.
Well, I mean, we didn't really see what his job was. He appeared to be working in an office, so he could have been working in an IT job. That would So I didn't know. I wasn't familiar with that actor before having seen the movie. But all right. So what do we got to cover next?
Can I do another rant of mine?
Yes, please. I'm enjoying your rants very much.
Okay. Well, this rant is about the second cutscene, which when Thor returns to Earth and he and Jane reunite.
Mm-hmm.
I have to assume that was a studio decision to put that after at least 30% of the audience has left, because that is the emotional resolution of your movie.
Yeah.
Thor and Jane reuniting. It's not Jane eating cereal. It's them reuniting, and it was amazing. Like the last shot with Loki, that was great. But you can't sacrifice the emotional. The entire he doesn't finish.
It was implied that he was going back to Earth.
It was implied, but you can't. You leave Jane on this bizarre note of well, I guess I'll move on again ish. I don't know. I can't expect. Yeah, whatever. I can't justify that choice in my head, because it's just I'm not personally that invested in Thor and Jane. I think there are a lot of reasons for that, but they're still the center of the movie, and knowing that Thor gets back to Earth isn't really important, because for all we know, he's just flying around the other 9 realms again, being like, "You guys good? You guys good? You guys good?" I don't know.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
My Skype just did something a little bit bizarre, but it's fine.
No, Ernie
right.
is off to bed.
Okay, because I stopped the recorder, but then I immediately started again, so that won't be a problem for me when I slap this together tomorrow.
Okay, I'm recording also, so if something happens to your copy, let me know. I'll send mine.
Yeah, I'm glad you're doing that, because I'm not going to try to tackle this tonight. I'm just going to probably go straight to bed after this. So I guess what I wanted to know, what I put in the outline was who do you think gave the best performance of the movie? But we all know what we're all going to say. But let's just say it.
Eccleston.
Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah.
Loki. No, sorry, Anthony Hawkins. Anthony.
Yeah.
I think Chris Hemsworth did a really, really
Ray
good
Stevenson.
job.
Yeah.
Idris Elba. He was good.
Idris Elba was
Idris Elba is good in anything.
good.
Yes.
Stalin Sasgard.
I'm going to
good.
be a
He's really
contrarian and say Stellan Skarsgård just because he was naked in that one scene, and from his age, that the courage.
Yeah, in his
He only
tidy
had one
whities.
line, but he nailed it.
He was in his tidy whities for a couple scenes. That was
That was so funny when he was in the asylum and he was wearing a Norwegian wool sweater and a swag pants and just ranting up there. It's funny.
I think I have to go with Stellan Skarsgård also.
Yeah, his explanation with the shoes, that was perfect.
He had the strongest emotional arc of the whole movie, because he starts off in a really, really dark place, and you can feel that. I really like that he was like, no, he's not okay. He's in a really, really bad place. And Jane, you get the sense that she cares, but also she has better things to do. And so I was really, I thought his start to finish arc of the movie was probably the best overall.
Yeah, because he's a character who this is one place where they really were able to close a narrative loop. His character has been through a lot the past few movies, and they did not ignore that. They showed us he's come through this damaged, and he came back to himself.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
The guy who played Darcy's boyfriend was cute.
Oh yeah, intern Ian. Whenever I hear intern, I just now think automatically of Welcome to Night Vale, where they continuously kill off their interns, and they ceremonially they bury them under the floor of the break room as is tradition. Oh my god! I don't know if you guys listen to that podcast, but it's really good.
No, but I'm thinking of it.
So have we sort of reached the end of Thor 2?
I think. Yeah, I feel like we can do a One Night Marry or throw in Dark Void thing.
Sure, and it's still not
Jump in the Dark Void.
Yes, and it's still not too late for me to get takeout, so I'm excited.
Well, actually, I have one more thing to ask. Does anybody else watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., or is that just me?
Yes, I do.
No, I actually don't.
No,
have
how
the
is
TV.
the show? Is it good?
It's really good.
Yeah, I really like it.
It's pretty good. It's getting better, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely improving. It started off a little rocky, but I think they're getting... I mean, I write about it for a website, so maybe I have to say this, but I really, really do like it, and I think that they have been getting a really good grip on their characters. Like, a lot of people, I think, had unrealistic expectations, because it's not superheroes, and it's like, you do have to like that kind of, like, weirdly administrative side of, you know, fighting supercrime, you know. But
okay. I thought it was going to be like X-Men or mutants kind of thing, or heroes kind of thing, you know? So
No.
Is Joss
So all the
Whedon
main
involved?
characters
Is he
are
one of the
models.
directors or writers on this?
He's the showrunner, pretty much. He's
actually not. He's he is a producer, and he directed the pilot, but he's like doing Avengers 2 now. So his brother and sister-in-law, who rock, are actually showrunning it.
Okay.
So it's showing more of what the actual S.H.I.E.L.D. agents do.
Yeah, and the reason I bring it up is because this episode that's coming up this week is going to tie in to Thor. So they're going to have... Yeah, it is.
Yes.
It's going to, like... There's going to be some relic that lands, I think, probably in Greenwich, and they're going to have to, like, find it, and it like, turns people into rage monsters, and so it's going to have, like, a big emotional impact on one of the agents who's basically been a brick wall so far, so I'm excited for that.
Okay.
Which one?
Oh, yeah. All on Hulu, so it's convenient.
I haven't seen that, so can you
Agent
maybe
Ward?
sell it a little bit, like, the production values on that, like, are the special effects? How is that? Are they good, bad, average?
I'd say they're okay most of the time. Sometimes good.
Yeah, I don't honestly.
I
I care about story. I don't really care about special effects. So, like, my opinion is not the best on this, because, like, I thought they had a really emotional episode 2 weeks ago, and I thought that the CGI was crappy, but the emotional story was so good that I literally don't care.
Yeah, is that the one where she took a plane?
Some people can really detract from their experience of watching it.
I really liked last week's.
Is that the one where she jumps out the plane?
Yes! Oh my god, it's so good.
Well, my main takeaway is that Agent Coulson isn't dead. Which, do have you guys heard the Agent Coulson fan theory about how he survived and who he really is?
He went.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll just explain it. So, at the end of Captain America, the first movie, that you have that montage of how all the people, you know, they have gotten hope back because of him, and you see those kids playing in the street, and there's the little boy who has made the Captain America shield out of a, like, trash can lid or something, and you hear his mother yell, "Phil, time for dinner," and then he says, "Coming, Mom." So the theory is that Agent Coulson actually is a super soldier, not maybe to the same extent that Captain America or the Red Skull was, but that he may have volunteered for a follow-up program. So he has just, like, the longevity and the durability, but not some of the other abilities, if that makes sense.
Well, on the show, he seems confused about what happened himself.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. But they implied that, like, he was definitely dead. Like, that whatever happened, like, killed him. And then something else happened after that. And they just had an interesting... What they also do is they, not after credits, but they kind of, like, end the show, and then they have, like, a 45-second, like, stinger scene. And it's, and sometimes they're just, like, funny, like the ice kitty type thing. And other times they're like plot things. So last week they had him kind of looking up his own file and like calling in to S.H.I.E.L.D. to see like, oh, I'd like to, have a look at this file. And they were like, oh, you're restricted from this. And he was like, no, I have clearance. And they were like, no, I'm sorry, you don't. And he was like, oh. And it was like, ooh, something happened there. I mean, we already knew that, but
And other characters have, in dialogue, have said, he can't know what happened and stuff like that.
Okay, all right. So it's been implied that there was some kind of conspiracy around his death and resurrection. But I mean, I like the idea that because apparently we've been told that the super soldier serum never worked again. That doesn't mean that they didn't try again.
Oh yeah, they tried because that's how the Hulk was born.
Oh, really? I thought that was
no. Yeah, Hulk was an accident, I thought.
Well, it was... I think they said that... Well, it's been in a couple of different iterations in the comic books. They're usually... Sometimes the Hulk, the scientists are working for the government on the Super Soldier Project, but just a totally different way of going about it. I'm not sure how I think they said that in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I believe in the Avengers.
In the Incredible Hulk, when the General Ross was talking to the guy who became Abomination.
Yeah.
In the Avengers, Black Widow makes some comment about the Hulk to Captain America, saying someone trying to replicate what happened to him with radiation. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, people did try again in various ways.
Well, that's also part of what Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is like. They kind of introduce something called Centipede, who are these people who are apparently trying to recreate the super soldier serum, and at least so far they've kind of portrayed them in this really like hilariously immoral way where they're literally like throwing anything they can find into the serum and just injecting it into people, and it's kind of hilarious.
Yeah, because they're using Extremis, which is the Iron Man 3 stuff.
Yeah, but they also, like, they said they tossed in gamma stuff. There was,
Chitauri technology.
So they're just trying. They're just desperately trying anything. Well, wouldn't a Tony Stark, in theory, have archives to his access to his father's archives of his research? But I'm getting way too far into the universe now.
Well, Tony Stark usually is not into biology; it's more engineering.
Yeah,
straight up.
That's right. He's not. His dad was the one who was more into biology side. Yes. Oh, I have another theory. This is actually my theory. So as we know in the Avengers, Tony and Steve didn't get along, and I mean just because they just don't. But. So I had this idea. Was it ever mentioned who Tony's mother was, or just we know that his dad was Howard Stark? Because
I think her name's Maria. I could be wrong.
Okay. Well, I was thinking, wouldn't it be neat if they had? Because who was the character who the Captain America was sweet on in the first movie?
Peggy.
Oh, Peggy Carter.
What if Tony's dad married Peggy and his mom is Peggy?
That would be really awkward. Are you saying that
Captain America is Snape?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Well, they're talking about having Peggy Carter have her own TV show, possibly.
Yeah, because they have you seen the one shot, Agent Carter one shot with her in it?
No,
I haven't. It's a DVD extra on one of the DVDs.
Iron Man 3 Blu-ray extra.
So is she still alive, or what's the deal?
In modern times, it hasn't been revealed.
Okay, because if she's going to be like 88 years old.
Well, it's going to be happen in the past if they did the short, and the rumor was that it was kind of made as a backdoor pilot to possibly do a period TV show about her in the late 40s, early 50s as a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, a proto S.H.I.E.L.D. agent.
Okay. Well, they probably want to see how the main S.H.I.E.L.D. show goes first.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they've also announced the Netflix stuff, the Daredevil, Luke Cage stuff, Iron Fist, that sort of thing.
Really?
That's all going to be on Netflix. Yeah.
Yep.
All the Hell's Kitchen characters.
Yeah, they ordered 4, or is it 3? No, it's 4 characters. I think short 10 or 12 episode seasons and 1 season of a Defenders show where all of them are going to join together.
But these are going to be on Netflix only?
Yes,
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm ordering dinner right now.
Speaking of Captain America, I have to change. My favorite actor in the movie was Chris Evans. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Golden. That was perfect.
Yes, Chris
I
Evans.
cried a little.
Yeah, playing Tom Hiddleston, playing Loki. I've seen the chain worked out, and it's actually
Chris
really
Evans playing Chris Evans playing Loki, playing Captain America. So Chris Evans was playing Loki, technically.
good. Okay.
Yeah.
No, it was Chris Evans playing Loki playing. No, you're right. I was wrong.
Yeah,
Did they use his voice, or was that Loki's voice? I didn't catch that.
So next time when we see Loki again, if Odin is not dead, which I don't think he is personally, it will be Anthony Hopkins playing Tom Hiddleston, playing Odin, playing Loki. No, that's not right either. Oh.
Anthony Hopkins playing Loki, playing Odin.
Yes.
Well, I don't think Anthony Hopkins will get that method with it. I don't think he'll put that much effort.
Yeah.
Like I said, everything he said in that movie, you could have just replaced it with moi. Same effect.
Exactly the same. It was really
the sound
pathetic.
of the parents from the Peanuts.
Yes,
cartoon.
exactly.
He's like, bitch, I was Hannibal. It doesn't matter what I do now.
I have to say, at least they didn't use the Odin sleep, because I watched Thor again recently, and that is just the dumbest thing. I mean, it's like, I don't know how you take that
Odin's
seriously.
plot device.
Yeah.
Well, that comes from the comics.
My God.
It does? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't care. It's stupid.
Well, if they had said something along the lines of, all Asgardians have to periodically do this, it's one of the ways we maintain our longevity, sure. But otherwise, I remember seeing the first movie of being like, this is stupid. Yeah, so I agree. All right, guys, I'm getting pad thai and chicken satay. That's my dinner.
Nice.
None of it's vegetarian, Tori. That's a little nod to Hannibal. Yeah. So Mikhail, I want to hear the story about how you wrote the letter to Tom Hiddleston.
Oh, okay. So after I saw Thor, I think I do have something of an obsessive personality, but it usually doesn't fixate on actors. But this was just insane. And the problem with Tom Hiddleston is that once you get into him through acting or whatever, you find out what a gem he is, and then you just can't stop because he's too good. And and every time I'm watch interviews with actors I like, because I'm scared they're going to come off as assholes or stupid or uniformly the most well-spoken, womanly, just goddess ever, and it's crazy. So it just built and built and built, and I was like, well, screw it, I have to write to this guy. So I wrote him a letter, and I was all ready to send it off to England and never get a response. Still, I was searching around online and found the address of the Avengers set. So this was in the summer of 2011, I guess. And this whole long letter, and with little I kind of wrote it as an outline, and I made it as funny as I possibly could. And he 1 week later, I got a signed picture back from him, and it said on the back, "Dear Michal, thank you for your beautiful, wonderful, and amazing letter." And he underlined it, Richard II, because I wrote to him how much I love Richard II and how I wanted him to play Richard II. And he said, "Richard II is indeed the best. I wasted time, and now doth time waste me." And I was like, well, what do I do now?
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. I was just, yeah.
Yeah.
It was worth every
Have you
minute
seen
of
him
the-
in? Have you seen him in the Henry IV?
Oh, he was so good.
And Henry V.
Oh,
'cause
yeah.
there was a production.
Yeah, the
about
Hollow Crown.
half a year ago, the Hollow Crown series.
Yeah, I feel so guilty. I haven't watched it because Hal is such a little pisher. Ugh.
He does it really well, and he's shirtless in a scene. Come on.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah.
And it
Have
does
we all
have
seen
Richard
the
II
Deep Blue
in it, but he's played by the guy who played Q.
Yeah.
That actor, I forget.
Who I thought did it really well.
Ben
Apparently
Whishaw.
Dave, and in theatres at the moment over here, David Tennant's being Richard II.
Really?
Yes, I know. I wanted to go see it. My sister is obsessed with David Tennant, and I'm obsessed with Richard II. So we were like, let's just be crazy and go, but we can't. But Tom Hiddleston is doing oh God, I don't know how to pronounce it. Coriolanus.
Coriolanus. He's doing Coriolanus.
Coriolanus.
And that's actually they're going to be like live casting that in theaters here. So like in movie theaters. So I want to see that. Yeah. So I definitely.
You said the actor that plays Q, and I thought of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
No.
Have any of you seen the Deep Blue Sea?
Yeah.
No. The one with Tom Hiddleston's ass. That movie. That one.
No. That's the one with the sharks, right?
No, it's not the one with the sharks. Although I had a very confusing. I had a very confusing Netflix search after somebody told me the Deep Blue Sea had Tom Hiddleston's ass in it.
Man. Also, Rachel Weisz is in that, right? She's good.
Yes. They play sad British people, and I sat through the whole thing for a 5 minute. No, not even 5. 3 minute sex scene. Worth it.
Yeah.
We're gonna play the. We're gonna play Mary.
The Scorpions game.
Oh yeah, we should, and then I should get going here because I was actually on Grubhub, which is a website where you just order stuff and you don't have to pick up a phone or talk to anyone. It's great.
It just comes straight to you.
Yeah, and I also ordered it from a restaurant that's 3 blocks from my house, so I know that instead of coming in an hour, it'll be here in 20 minutes. So. So it was if someone can just remind me of how this game goes and explain it to Tori too, because I've never played it before.
It's Mary Fuck Kill.
Mary, so it's basically, but we have a little Game of Thrones spin on it, right?
Yeah, it's Mary
you kill yourself basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Take a shot of fruit punch.
Yeah, that's gonna be it.
Evil fruit punch.
I'm just gonna go with the IMDb list here. So go with that.
Okay.
So Thor, marry one night or throw in Dark Eater thing.
Oh, good twist. I approve. I'd marry him if I could marry. Well, assuming that this is just one at a time, then I'd marry him.
Okay. Chris Hemsworth. That's what we're talking about first.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Remember, if you marry him, you're stuck with for 5,000 years or something.
Oh, okay. So one night.
Yeah. One night, because frankly, his arms scare me, and I could never keep up with his physical fitness. I would just always feel like a complete slug.
He's probably the guy who's at the gym for 6 hours a day or something.
Yeah, no, apparently when Chris Hemsworth was getting ready for the first Thor movie, his biceps got so big he couldn't fit into the costume. Isn't that the most Thor thing he could do? I mean, he is Thor at this point.
Yeah.
My arms are too big. Poor baby.
Have you seen the pictures of him holding his infant daughter? She looks like a small potato.
Oh. Well, she's probably bigger now, but yeah, that's right. He's married. All right, so I guess Natalie Portman's next.
Portman, yep. It's Portman, so how can you not marry her? I guess so. Marry for me.
Yeah, I
still remember the Phantom Menace. So one night.
Yeah, maybe one night. If it's the character, I probably feel pretty stupid around her since she's a scientist and also one night there too, probably. Yeah.
Well, if Mary could be the equivalent of be friends with, I would definitely like to hang out with her.
Yeah, I'd have coffee with her.
Yeah.
Fruit punch, you mean?
Yeah,
Evil fruit punch that will destroy the universe.
Okay, Loki is next, right?
Well, duh. I mean, Mary.
Oh, well, this is even a question.
I think he's hard to keep at home, isn't he? He's out turning into animals and.
Not Al.
I could fix him. I could heal him.
No, slippery slope.
He's a project.
And he's probably the guy who goes, "Oh, mom does it so much better. Why can't you do it like mom?"
Wait.
Well,
I mean, Loki, and I will keep him at my side.
Yeah.
On my lap.
Well, I mean, that's actually a really creepy idea of him constantly comparing things to Frigga if he does actually have an Oedipal complex. Yeah.
I think Loki would just be the best for a one-night stand. Like, I don't need that in my life.
Plus, he can turn into anybody, right? So there's variety.
Yeah.
Vikram knows what's going on. He knows what's up. Okay, Anthony Hopkins is next.
I killed myself.
Yeah, we haven't thrown anyone to the Scorpions yet. I'm impressed with us.
Oh, we're still at the top of the list.
Yeah. Well, we got to figure out how far. I mean, my food's going to come soon, guys. How far are we going to go down?
I think we do it till Stalin Skarsgård.
What on Anthony Hopkins?
Oh.
Well, there's not that many. We can go to the end of this one.
Yeah,
you're right. You're right.
Skarsgård, that song.
Okay.
Yeah. Anybody else I don't know? Who is Alice Cringe?
Is Jamie Alexander on there?
Oh yeah, for sure. She's
okay.
Yeah. Okay. Anthony Hopkins. I don't know. He's old. And he's not like a hot dad like the one on Tumblr.
But he'd be like the sugar daddy, right? He's the king.
No.
King of Asgard.
No.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we can just slot in anyone or anything else, and it'll just have the same effect. So it wouldn't be that bad.
And the guy was racist, right? He was like, these humans,
he's racist
just throw them out. Like,
well, is it racist if you're talking about people from other planets? Is it the same thing?
The human race.
You're
I mean,
then.
they are like mayflies compared to them, so I don't think that's racist. Really.
Still. Okay, Doctor Who now.
Christopher Eccleston or Malekith? Because that's
different.
Either way, Scorpions.
I don't know.
Yeah.
He was really sexy in the first Elizabeth movie, so I would give him at least one night. Not the character,
feeling
the
that
actor.
Malekith might actually like the Scorpions, but yeah, let's try that.
Okay.
Yeah. It's no takers, I guess, yeah. Okay, let's go to Jamie Alexander,
Finally,
the next
one for the
Wonder
guys.
Woman.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody, let's say together.
Mary.
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 Do you think she'll actually be able to go do a DC movie though? I mean, I agree that she'd be great in the part.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be a bigger role than the sidekick character she's doing.
Well, I mean, a lot of it has to do with what kind of contract she's signed, because I remember reading somewhere that Chris Evans, when he signed on to be Captain America, he signed a contract for 7 movies, and I don't know if that is 7 if that's like combined Captain America standalones and Avenger movies or what.
Yeah,
I mean, Chuck is playing the Fandral character in this movie, right? But he was played by a different character in first movie. So when that guy can leave, I'm sure Sif can leave also.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, that guy is on what's that Disney fairy tale show? It was a contract thing that he couldn't come back.
No, he's on Once Upon a Time. He plays Prince Charming, I think.
Well, Marvel's owned by Disney, so maybe he was able to finagle something out because it's 2 Disney franchises.
But I don't think they give contracts to everybody. It's only the big actors, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Somewhere that Jamie Alexander got like seriously injured on the Thor set, like
really
go to the hospital and all. But this was on TV tropes again, so I mean, might be bullshit.
No, I heard that too. She like broke a bunch of stuff, and she's tough though. I mean, I have a lot of respect for her. And she retweeted me once, so that was good.
Oh my god, isn't that like the best thing when a celebrity retweets you or tweets back?
It's like they know who I am. No, they don't, but they know who I am.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Tori is well aware of my obsession with the show Ghost Adventures, which she got me into, by the way.
I got you into it.
Yeah, and now and then I'll like tweet at the host, Zach Baggins, just being like, I think you're great. But it's like my like little inner teeny bopper self coming out.
Did Zach Baggins retweet you? Or tweet you back? Or whatever it is people do on Twitter?
Oh, someone else retweeted. No, I got Brian Fuller to retweet me.
I remember that.
Yeah, but I haven't gotten Zach Baggins to acknowledge my existence yet. It's okay though.
Oh,
I'm working on it. Zachary Levi, who the hell is this guy? I've never even.
He's Chuck.
He's Chuck.
He's got a supercomputer in his head. How can he not know?
He's way cuter now.
5-series TV show or 5-season. I'm sorry.
I haven't owned a TV in years. I only watch select things on the internet when I hear they're good. Well, he's
really good.
No one told you Chuck was good. You need to get.
He's lost a lot of weight since Chuck. His face looks really different.
I think it's just because he was blonde.
Oh, yeah, and the facial hair.
I don't know. I could never watch Chuck because he looks so much like my dad that it made me really uncomfortable. So, like, blonde is good.
Yeah. Well, I'd give him a shot. He looks cute.
I'd marry him.
Only if he's blonde. Only if he's blonde, I would marry him.
Otherwise, it's going to make you really uncomfortable. Oh, Ray Stevenson. Ray Stevenson was Volstagg, of course. Like there's certain characters that it's like, of course that actor played them.
I've heard a lot of sort of speculation and fan casting. People want him for Victorian Greyjoy in Game of Thrones.
Well, they want Mads Mikkelsen.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Oh.
You know, Mads Mikkelsen was originally supposed to be Malkeith, according to TV tropes, which might not be true.
I'm
glad that he wasn't, though.
Yeah, because he couldn't because he was already committed to Hannibal, which we are forever grateful. He's been fan casted not as Victorian, but as a Euron. That's what people think he'd be good as.
Yeah, it's like he has one eye. This guy has one eye. Perfect.
He always plays one-eyed characters. Yeah. Tori, I don't know how much you've read into the messed up Greyjoy family in Game of Thrones, but there's these two other Theon uncles. There's actually 3 of them, and they are just fucked up. They're just the craziest motherfuckers.
I haven't watched Game of Thrones yet because my roommate hasn't watched Breaking Bad yet, and we're like at this TV show holdout where none of us will compromise.
Well, there's less Game of Thrones right now, to be honest. So it'll be probably easier to. Okay, we got to finish this list before my dinner gets here.
All right.
Okay, Ray Stevenson. What did we think of him?
Titus Pillow.
Yeah, Titus Will is probably more interesting.
One night with Titus Pillow.
Yeah, well, okay, I'll go with one night. He has a strong jawline, and I respect that.
I think we can pass on this Hogan guy.
Tantanobu Asano? He's cute. What are you talking about?
Well,
he wasn't in the movie at all.
So.
Was that Mr. Echo from Lost?
I don't understand
No,
why he
he's
was
not.
even
The guy from Lost was Korean, I thought. No.
That guy. He was from Lost. He was Mr. Echo.
Was this the guy Mimi was sort of like fangirling over that played Genghis Khan on one of the movies?
Oh, that was a good movie. Mongol, that was a good movie. She's completely justified in fangirling over him, if that is the same actor.
She wanted this guy for Drogo, I think.
Is this the guy that played Hogan the Grim, then?
Oh, this guy did play Mongol. Oh, yeah, so this is the one that Mimi wanted for Khal Drogo. Okay, yeah. I don't know.
He was like in 2 scenes, wasn't he? Like he had like 3 lines.
Yeah.
The initial fight scene in the start of the movie, right?
Yeah, and then they basically cut him loose and let him go back to his home planet.
And he gets one reaction shots where the Orient typhoons fly into his planet.
Yeah.
Is it all those things? And then they go off again.
It made a lot more sense to me, though, because in the first movie I was like, why is there a samurai? Mm-hmm. Why? And then it was like, oh, right, okay, all the Asian people are on another planet. Okay.
Hey, Peter, I've got a question. Are the Warriors 3 part of the mythology, or is that just a comic book thing?
Well, to be honest, I'm not that familiar with the mythology, but I think it's just a comic book thing. I mean, the guy that Zachary Levi plays, I think that's sort of Robin Hood inspired, really.
Yeah.
And Volstagg sort of looks like Gimli to me, at least in the movie.
Yeah, I think all the Asgard characters do have a basis in Norse mythology, but they've obviously taken it in very different directions. Yeah.
Well, Sif does, obviously. Sif is like Thor's lady.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Fandral, they based him on freaking Errol Flynn, so that, yeah. Oh, okay, Idris Elba, we're all going to marry him, all of us.
Yeah, do I get a go in his Jaeger?
Yeah.
That's between the two of you.
Yeah. What happens between two men in the sanctity of their own Jaeger, or how do you say it, Jaeger or Jagger?
Jaeger, I think.
Whichever is fine, yeah.
Well, that's a high concept movie for you.
So Veena gave me her proxy vote for her, so yeah, I'm married for her.
Okay, yeah. Renee Russo, for all the 2 seconds she was in the movie.
She had an awesome fight scene.
That was a good fight.
Almost.
I liked it.
Yeah. No,
lame. I've been a Renee Russo fan for years.
Yeah. If I could just hang out with her once, I'd be happy with that, because she also seems like a solid person.
Do you think she can also turn into different people? Then I'll definitely marry.
The implication is there.
Well, I mean, we can only assume that if she's the one who taught Loki what he does, that she can do the same stuff. Oh, this is interesting. That the actor who plays Fandral in Zachary Levi, he was originally supposed to play Fandral in the first movie, but he couldn't because of Chuck being extended. And then that's interesting. This is on Wikipedia, so that's a little bit more legit than TV tropes.
TV tropes.
Yeah, no, that's true. I remember that. Also, he's like, if you want a minor actor crush, he's a good guy. He's like really nice. He like does a ton of charity work. He's just like, he's an all around good guy.
That's always nice. I mean, there was something that was discussed on another VOK webcast or podcast last week about nerd culture and feminism, is how awful it is when you find out that an actor you like or a creator you like is secretly a horrible person, and you're just like, whoa, now I can't like this thing anymore. All right.
Mr. Echo from Lost.
Yeah.
What was the entire thing with the stone? Couldn't he just have carried the stone in his pocket? Why did he have to carry it in his stomach or something?
It's kind of weird.
Because that made no sense.
Helmet goes with his skull or something like that. No, go ahead.
Sorry.
No, but I watched the live LA premiere, and he looked really, really good. He was very well dressed.
Oh yeah, no, he looks cute, and for sure. What else has he been on that I would know? Oh, he played Heavy Duty in G.I. Joe. God, I love the internet. One of the reasons I don't like camping, I can't take the internet with me. What am I going to do? We're going to sit around the campfire and talk. What?
Get a hotspot.
That's why you bring a lot of beer.
I can't. I'm gluten intolerant.
Oh.
Yeah. I do drink wine, though. I'm a big fan. Let's see. All right.
Big fan of wine.
Yeah, well, I live
it's
in...
rare.
Really? Well,
no, it's not rare.
Well, I live in San Francisco, so I'm like smack dab in the middle of a major wine producing region in the country, and it's a pretty common thing for people to just go do day trips up to Napa and Sonoma and whatnot, and you are awash in it. There's no getting away
I guess
from
that's
it.
sort of more being a fan. It's kind of a hobby more than most people. Just I retract my earlier statement. You are a fan.
Yeah. All right. Kat Dennings, she's great. I like her.
Nice.
Mary.
Did you know that supposedly she used to date Tom Hiddleston?
She what?
She used to date Tom Hiddleston, yes. I think they had to break up because the forces of nature dictated that it was unfair to the rest of us mortals.
Yeah. The only thing of that I saw was that they were together at like 2011 Comic-Con, and they were like walking arm in arm, and there was one of those off like paparazzi videos where they're being like attacked and are trying to like look. Oh, I watched it. Shouldn't have. But I saw that, and I was like, they're together, but I don't know.
Well, I mean, also when we hear the two people dated, I mean, that could mean anything from, you know, they were having a full on relationship to they just hung out a couple times. It could.
I don't know. She's from Bryn Mawr, so I have to root for the locals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say Mary, but she's kind of bossy, right? She was bossy in the movie, so I'll just say one night.
No, look her up, guys.
Yeah,
she is more glamorous than.
Oh yeah, she has an amazing figure that in the movie got hidden under scarves and jackets.
Yeah. No, she is like, yeah. Look up the stuff she wore, especially the UK premiere. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's gorgeous, and she's funny.
Yeah, no,
There was a Thor in this movie. Clive Russell played Thor. I didn't even know that.
That Tyr was in it?
He was the background character, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, now we go to Daddy Stellan here, who I think most people would be more than happy to go with like all his kids are actors apparently, but like it's who's the guy in his one son in True Blood that everyone loves?
Alexander.
Yeah, Alexander. Yeah, sounds good. Yeah.
Wait, the blonde one?
Yeah, that's his son in real life.
The blonde one, the situation. Apparently, his situation is on camera a lot.
Oh, yeah. I stopped watching True Blood like 2 years ago, so I couldn't tell you how much nudity. I mean, there's basically that whole show. It was just like a giant sex scene. So yeah, but anyway, what do we think of old Dr. what the heck was his name? Skelvig. He's fun, but I don't know.
I think I'd be entertained, but
if shattered condoms keep what got out your brain, or okay.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah, his son is in True Blood. Then the second guy is in Viking, and the third guy was in Hemlock Grove, right?
Yes.
So wow, proud dad.
Well, considering his character in the movie, that character would be a lot of work to be in a relationship with. I don't think he's. Yeah. No. That would be...
Well, you'll have access to pharmaceuticals.
Well, but that wasn't his problem. I think the whole idea was that, you know, people assumed he was crazy, so he was being doped up with all these medications that were making it even worse for him. And then as soon as he realized that he wasn't crazy, he could stop taking them and he could get back to his normal self. At least that's how I interpreted that whole little scene.
Interesting.
So that's just kind of like, what's the trope? Flat Earth atheist. Like, when you know that there's these supernatural forces in the world, I mean, the Avengers thing it was on the news, and people still assume that he's crazy, even though he was in the middle of that. It's kind of weird that he's still getting doped up.
Actually, it's interesting that there isn't kind of a watch on him, because technically he, like, broke 1 million laws, right? He was like, working for the invasion.
Mm-hmm. That's true, and he seems to have, like, gone off the radar. But, I mean, it's...
Well, I think S.H.I.E.L.D. would be the one to look after him, and they know that he was being controlled.
Yeah, that's true. The interesting thing is that there are certain people who I think S.H.I.E.L.D. just doesn't give a crap about, and it's like, he's probably one of them. Right. Or they keep a distant watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, I think we're going to see more of S.H.I.E.L.D. in the next Captain America movie and just find out more about their inner workings.
Yeah, well, that was what was really interesting about this, because S.H.I.E.L.D., I think, really came into their own, and Coulson also, in Thor. You know, that was kind of the first time where it was like, oh, these guys can crack jokes, and, like, you know, you kind of experience them as a group. Mm-hmm. And they were like, I mean, it was fine, but they were basically like a non-presence in this one because it was so like otherworldly and everything. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Except for when Darcy was like calling S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm very interested to see if that phone call kind of ties into this week's episode of S.H.I.E.L.D. because sometimes they do things like that.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, I'm afraid I have to get going. I don't know if we want to wrap up just because I'm, recording the call, but. I want to give a final count about where my post stands here, the Loki gift. 8,047 notes.
Can you link that? I haven't seen it.
Okay, sure. Let me throw that into the chat. All right. There it is. Okay. So I'm just going to continue making just sort of like stretching sounds and whatnot, which you can all enjoy. But when I end the call, it's just going to end because I'm the one hosting, just so you guys know. So if you want,
we can wrap it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been
let's
fun.
wrap
I
it
need
up.
to go to sleep now. It's 5:20 in the morning.
Oh my.
Well, we were truly up all night to get Loki, guys. I just did a thumbs up to my computer screen. Oh God. Woo.
Well done, everyone.
All right.
Right,
Good job,
cool.
everybody.
Thank you
Good
for
chat.
having us. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And
Thank
You
you.
broke the record. 8 episodes, 8 hosts, guys.
Yes.
Nice job. And the call did not. Good job to shout out to Skype for holding us
Yeah.
through.
Yes. And I'll edit this tomorrow, and then we'll all get to listen to it soon. Woo.
All right.
Okay.
Yay.
Good night,
you guys.
guys.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.